What's going on, guys? I am Optimus Philip, and once again, I will be responding to game theory. This time we're taking a look at his Exposing Metroid's Hidden Threat theory. For those who haven't seen this theory claims that the Decora and Etacoons, the animals who teach you how to use the Shine Spark and wall jump maneuvers respectively, are actually X Parasites and should not be rescued at the end of Metroid III Super Metroid, despite them canonically surviving and appearing in Metroid Fusion. Now, I noticed a few flaws with this theory, so I'd like to make this video breaking it down for you. But first, I'd like to say that I have nothing against MatPat or anyone else behind game theory. I'm actually a fan of the series, and this video is specifically a critique of the argument presented in this one episode. If you want to see some good theories, watch his video on the Dead Radicate theory from Pokemon Red and Blue and the 2014 US Amiibo shortage. They're some of my favorites. Now, skipping the overly long gushing over Metroid 3 speedruns, MatPat states the Metroids aren't the true threat of the Metroid series, instead giving that title to the X Parasites, amorphous creatures that can infect and mimic any life form or technology. He cites the Metroid manga as evidence, where Oldbird states that the X are a greater threat than the space pirates, and it's shown that the Metroids were actually created to stop the X. That is true, and the manga is canon. However, he stretches this to say that the Metroids are actually the good guys and shouldn't be destroyed, and that the only reason people are killing them is because the Chozo didn't tell anyone about the X. He even goes so far as to call this a stupid decision on the Chozo's part. This bothers me for a few reasons. One, the Chozo did have a very good reason for keeping the existence of the X a secret, so that the Federation wouldn't try to harness their power for themselves, just like they do in Metroid Fusion. Now, MatPat does mention this, but kinda downplays it, despite it being a really good point. Two, even if the Chozo did tell someone that the Metroids were made to stop the X were already thought extinct by the events of the series. 3. Made to stop the X or no, the Metroids are still a serious threat to other races. This argument, combined with point number 2, makes a very compelling argument for the destruction of the Metroids. It wasn't just, that thing looks evil, let's kill it. If anything, the stupid decision was to make the Metroids in the first place, as Lisa Simpson put so eloquently.
But isn't that a bit short-sighted? What happens when we're overrun by lizards?
No problem. We simply unleash wave after wave of Chinese needle snakes. They'll wipe out the lizards.
But aren't the snakes even worse?
Yes, but we're prepared for that. We've lined up a fabulous type of gorilla that thrives on snake meat.
But then we're stuck with gorillas!
And lastly, this segment goes absolutely nowhere. It's just a tangent, and a stupid one at that. It doesn't add to his point at all, and just comes off as meaningless, which is exactly what it is. MatPat's next point is that the Etacoons and Decora are the only creatures that the X don't infect in Metroid Fusion, with no explanation given. However, MatPat takes this a step further and says that the X flat out ignore them, when it's just as likely that they simply manage to evade the X. I mean, the Decora is shown to be very fast, and the Etacoons are shown to be very agile with their wall jumping. This also applies to a later point where MatPat questions how they were able to survive in the hostile environment of Zebes. His next bit of evidence is that the Decora uses the Shine Spark in Metroid 3, which he claims is something that can only be done with advanced Chozo technology, and thus shows that the Decora had the same technology assimilation powers as the X. However, the Shine Spark is never directly stated to be technological, at least in and of itself. It could just be an effect of traveling at high speed, something the Decora might just be capable of naturally since it clearly resembles the ostrich, the fastest bipedal creature on Earth at over 40 miles per hour. In fact, I think saying that the Shine Spark is just a natural phenomenon is actually a very safe assumption, since like the wall jump, Samus' suit never mentions it, only the speed booster. Meaning that, like the wall jump, it is likely just a natural feat of speed. MatPat also states that the animals have a strange attraction to Chozo tech, since at the end you find them in the bomb room. However, this doesn't help the theory at all since, by the time they end up here, The bombs are gone, and the bomb Torizo has been destroyed, meaning that the only technology left in that room is the door. So this does not indicate at all that they have any sort of attraction to technology. Next, he mentions how the animals are able to pilot a spaceship in Metroid III and Fusion. I'll admit, I've got nothing on this, but MatPat goes on to say that the animals are actually not native to Zebus and actually crash-landed there, citing the fact that they use a spaceship in the ending of Metroid III. He even goes further to say that the wrecked ship in Metroid III is their ship, and that they use the ship to hop from planet to planet and spread the X. This is really stupid in my opinion. The wrecked ship is a Chozo ship. It's stated in the Metroid III manual and further supported by the presence of Chozo technology on the ship. It's not even an obscure fact. Again, it's in the manual, and you can even find this on the Metroid Wiki. You know, the wiki you cite in the video. Now, I can get behind the idea that the wrecked ship is the ship they use at the end, judging by both the lack of other ships on Zebus, and the relative location of the ship and the room where you rescue them. I just think that saying that it's their ship is dumb. MatPat also mentions that there's no explanation given for why the X are threatening the Biologic Space Laboratory's research station, and yet the animals are there at the same time. MatPat, did you even play Metroid Fusion? The BSL research station became infested because it picked them up for study from SR388 after their resurgence. How did you miss that? That is the entire setup to the game. The number of details MatPat misses, I'm seriously wondering if he doesn't have anterograde amnesia or something. And finally, he responds to the question of why the animals rescue Samus at the end of Fusion, even though she's been hunting the X all game. His answer? She kills Metroids, effectively giving them their own unwitting guardian. But I have two problems with this. First, the Metroids are extinct, so there's no need to keep Samus around. 2, Samus is actually part Metroid now, making her an even greater threat to them, so it would actually be more dangerous to keep her alive. And with that, we have reached the end of the theory. But there's still one thing I have to mention, and that is one piece of evidence that blows this whole theory out of the water. In Metroid Fusion, Samus's computerized CO, Adam, scans the animals and tests them as negative for X. This debunks the entire theory and proves that the animals are not infected with X Parasites. Like I said, I don't hate MatPat. Yet. But I just really don't think he thought this one out very well. But in the end, it's just a theory. A game theory! That's highly unlikely, if not flat out wrong. Thank you guys for watching, and this is Optimus Phillips saying that there's no cure for loving Metroid. See you next time.